Hello, everybody. My blanket's showing. How you doing? Hope everybody's good. I've got to find somewhere else to film. The lighting in here sucks, but that's okay. Hang on, I gotta adjust something under my computer. So look away. All right, there we go. So I'll give it about 5 minutes, see if anybody pops in, and then we'll get going. Man, I found out some wild stuff, y'all, with the CIA. And we've heard things here and there about them, but wow, I was shocked, very shocked. Let's see if I can turn down this fan. My fan is so powerful. You have to go up to 5 to go back. When you hit 5, the sucker went like this from the wind. It went backwards. Oh my goodness. Oh, got my caffeine over here. Gonna need it. But this may have to be a two-parter because I've already got I think more than 10 pages of notes. Let me see. Oh, I got to get out of here. All right. Let's see. Ah! The wind. All right, there we go. Nope, that's not. There we go. CIA. Aha. I have notes from a different one I did. Maybe it's not as many as I thought. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I was counting some extra notes earlier. I only have 8 pages. But if it goes too long, we'll just make this a two-parter because we can definitely do it in 2 parts because there's a second half we don't even need to do tonight. So, hey, chat mama. Okay. Oh, I hope it does. I still have got to order me one of those boosters for this room. I hope I'm okay too. And I figured out my new computer has problems. So at first I thought it was only YouTube because that's all I was watching, but it started wigging out on Prime Video and Netflix. There's something wrong with my video graphic card or whatever. So when I'm watching YouTube, it'll go black and come back on when I'm watching something or moving. If I go on Prime Video or Netflix and I want to go full screen, it goes full screen, small screen, full screen, small screen, all by itself. Hey, Journey, glad you're here. How you doing? I literally jumped down here and turned on the computer because I said, hi, welcome y'all from my phone. I was running around. Oh, it's so hot in here. I have to turn down the fan while we do this because it's already making my papers move. I got a lot of my information from the Y-Files. I really like that that channel. He does really good research. Let me see if I can find a Hecklefish clip. So just so you can see what this little guy is like. Lizard people. Oh, this might be good. It's 16 seconds. Okay, so let me bring Hecklefish in here. Okay, you guys can see it.
Talking t-shirt weather at the North Pole warm. I mean, the ice caps were completely gone.
Lizard people do like warm weather.
What?
Lizard people are cold-blooded. Hello? Read a science book?
There were no lizard people.
Bah.
So...
Oh, what? He's funny. Hey, Cinderella, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a while. Glad you could make it. I know Friday nights are weird. It's been hard for people to make it. Man, the lighting in here is horrible. It's weird. Of course, I said I was having problems with my graphics. The thing is, if I want it fixed, they might want to make me send it in. So I've got to get my son to bring my old one back. So I've got something to fall back on. Hey, Mark, how are you doing? Yeah, like I was saying a minute ago, we may have to make this a two-parter because I've got 8 pages of notes. So depending on how far we get, we may have to do some of it later on because I did more than just how they were funded. I got into some of the weird stuff that's going on. Oh, yay! Internet's back. I had a picture up here to cover that boo-boo, but I literally lost my mind. I was trying to go to sleep one morning because I go to sleep at like 5. And the wind was making it bang, 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 bang. Oh my gosh. It's down now. Oh, I about, ugh. I wanted to murder an inanimate object. I was tired. And I don't know what it is about Petunia, my other dog. It doesn't matter when I go to sleep. 10 minutes later, she wants to wake me up. She does it on purpose. She did that to me this morning. I kicked her butt outside because Tom gets home at 7. I was going to bed at 5:30 in the morning. She woke me up 10 minutes later out of a dead sleep. I had just fallen asleep. I put him outside. I said, y'all staying out there. It wasn't that hot yet. All right. So I gave it a few. So I know a lot of people aren't going to make it in. So I just showed the channel I got a lot of my info from is called The Y-Files. I love that show because he does everything from aliens to lost ships in the ocean to which I just watched today, to the CIA, and he did one on DARPA that I think I want to cover too. And he does a lot of matter of fact, he was worried about this one and the one on DARPA. He was worried it was going to get taken down because he is hitting some really I don't know what the word is I want, hot topics that some people don't want out. I think there's enough people talking about him nowadays that he should be okay. But Hecklefish, his partner, is hilarious. He's a fake little goldfish in a bowl that talks. It's funny. He is funny. So anyway, let me bring up. I wasn't sure if I wanted to bring up clips or not. If I was just gonna read through it. So I'm just gonna have it up just in case. Actually, I need to go to my history and find it. And there it is. All right. Okay. So, the CIA. I didn't even really understand its origins and stuff. So, but to start with, in 1948, heroin suddenly takes over American streets. I didn't know this either. Lucky Luciano with the mafia is found moving the drugs from Havana to Sicily to the U.S. Well, the commissioner of federal narcotics calls the embassy in Italy to get some help with an arrest on the people that are doing this in Italy and to extradite them over. And somebody gets on the line and says, no, he's with us. He's like, who do you mean us? And they said, the CIA. And it was completely dropped. Nothing was ever done again about it. So right there, you've got the CIA, drugs, and the mafia, which I always thought mainly just from movies and stuff, that the mafia didn't deal in drugs. Well, they didn't. They thought it was dishonorable, but they used drugs. They used heroin to control their prostitutes. I'm like, that's okay though. Well, I'll get into that a little bit more in a minute. So during World War II, they were called the Office of Strategic Services, and they coordinated espionage, covert ops during World War II. It was created around 1942, and after the war, because the Soviets were our allies during that war, World War II, but in the aftermath of all these countries that fell, that we defeated, the Soviet Union came out being extra strong because they had a bigger army, they had money, they had because they were our allies. So now the US is worried about the Soviet Union. So so this is where and why the Cold War begins. So Alan Dulles, who was station chief in Switzerland, didn't trust the Soviets. So he needed to train small groups of what they called citizen soldiers to stay in those countries, or that country. That was the only one they were dealing with at the time, to sow unrest, to sabotage supply raids, and train them in guerrilla warfare. In other words, a resistance is what we would call them. They were calling them citizen soldiers. Well, the White House liked this idea, and they needed a new hold on a second. So they assigned, you'll never guess who to run this new operation. I don't even know if I can't say it this early in. The bad guys from World War II, from Germany. They're assigning them to run this op for the United States in Germany. Well, this goes to Operation Paperclip. So Operation Paperclip was, they covertly brought over 1,600 scientists, engineers, and technicians to the United States from Germany and cleansed their backgrounds, knowing full well that they had committed atrocities and war crimes. As a matter of fact, one of them was, I didn't write his name down, but he was working on chemical warfare in Germany. When they brought him over here, you'll never guess what they put him in charge of: the MK Ultra program. If you guys don't know what that is, that's testing chemicals on U.S. soldiers, I think mostly. I don't know if civilians were involved. Yeah, this is stuff that I knew some of this, but I didn't know the extent of it. So some worked for NASA after they had built rockets for Germany that bombed London. And they helped us with our NASA program. So the U.S. believed they were a necessary evil to fight the Soviet Union and communism. At this time, the CIA was a civilian organization that only gathered intelligence. Well, that's about to change. So, General Reinhard Gehlen. Now, if you don't know who this guy is, he committed some serious atrocities. Let me bring him up. Surprisingly, so they put this guy in charge. I just this when I was younger, I used to watch these espionage movies and stuff, and this is just he was Hitler's super spy. I'm not even going to go over the stuff that he did. Yeah, right here. From general to spy. Yeah, I couldn't believe that. Anyway, up until I was later in my adult life, I believed the government. I used to watch these conspiracy movies, that made for an action movie, and I'm like, oh, our government would really never really do that. I have since changed my opinion. I cannot believe what they did just here. And a lot of this is before I was even born. Some of it happened after I was born. But I was like, and I need to start by saying, one, some of this has not been proven. A lot of information has been gotten from declassified documents, whistleblowers, and some of it's opinion of the people that I got it from. But there are people that have corroborated it at some point. And so I just wanted to say that. And also, trigger warning, we are going to talk about a few things that ended with innocent people being unalived. So just to let you know, and if more people come in, I may say that again. Adolf was an engineer. No, I didn't know that. Oh, I just watched something on where they think they proved he did make it to Argentina. Because they found a sub off of South America at one time. Maybe that's something we'll talk about too. So they put this atrocious dude. I'm like, we didn't have anybody better than that guy. That's just my personal opinion. But they started the whole thing off putting somebody evil in charge. Where did they think this was going to go? Just saying. And Eisenhower warned us about the intelligence community and the military industrial complex. I have that towards the end. All right, so Gellin wanted something more. They weren't the CIA yet. It was still the OSS. This was an op that they were going to start. So he wanted a new organization. Or no, they are the CIA. I'm sorry. It's the op name that they're going to do, I think. It was hard it never did say when it switched over to CIA. It just was. He wanted to fight the Soviets. He needed a paramilitary trained in guerrilla warfare and sabotage. Then he recruits from Adolf's youth and other of Adolf's soldiers to be part of this. So it's all ran by ex-Germans that were our enemies. Yeah, this is going to go well. He codenamed this group the Werewolves. Okay, so this is a group within a group. This is the paramilitary wing that he wanted. So now this guy, his country gets defeated. He's done atrocious war crimes and should go for it. And instead, they give him his own organization, his own soldiers, his own paramilitary, and money and supplies to do it. How the CIA started with the OSS. I hope I was only gone a second. We're having a storm. I can hear it thundering. So hopefully we're good. But my okay, it came back up. My Wi-Fi signal is going down. So Are you guys still there? Let me know if you can still see me. I'd actually like to do a little bit more research on this Gellin guy. The thing is, I know him all the way back. Okay, good. From early, like maybe school. I'm not sure. I learned about this guy. So then he has his secret army. He stashes supplies all over Germany. The German government had no idea. So when they find out, they want an investigation into what's going on, and all of a sudden it's gone. They quashed it. The CIA, they quashed it, told them to get lost. So by 1947, the communists were winning elections in Italy. So this is all gonna first he was supposed to be dealing with the Soviets, but now they need to deal with Italy because the Communist Party is trying to take over Italy. So the US didn't want that. So Gellin's op was expanded to Italy, and it was codenamed Operation Gladio. Gladio trained more soldiers in Italy to do all of these things, and it was named after the gladius sword that Romans used. Oh, I know. Don't they all? They sure do. I don't know how my daughter has a 2.5-year-old in the house and works from home. She said she's doing really good. She doesn't have her all the time. The dad gets her sometimes, but still. All right. So U.S. and British special forces trained them to fight the communists in Italy. They needed money, and they needed it fast. So Gladio could sow fear using propaganda, infiltrate political groups, bribe police and politicians, all to make the people see the communists as a threat. A secret agreement with Italy is made so that they can do this, but they need money. The problem is Congress controls the money, and if they go through Congress, then people will know about their operation, and they can't have that. So what do they do for money? Well, an agent that was working with China's National Army fighting the communists in China, they were already using funds from opium to fund their activities. So this agent already had these planes and was helping them smuggle opium around. So the CIA bought the planes, bought the fleet, and now we have Air America. If you don't know about Air America, we could do a whole show on just Air America. There's a movie called Air America. Y'all should watch. It's got Robert Downey Jr. in it when he was young. It's a really good movie. It was based around Vietnam, and they were flying around drugs for Vietnam. So Air America hasn't been proven. Were flying drugs to war zones for decades. Vietnam, a bunch of other places. So now we have untraceable drug money. So to fund Gladio, that wasn't enough. They had to flood the U.S. with drugs. They needed distribution, and to be able to get it out there, they needed an organization that was already organized, had logistics, security, and customers. Who would that be in the United States? The mafia. But the mafia doesn't deal in drugs. Well, Lucky Luciano was in prison. So they went to talk to him, and hold on. Next page. Now, they had already used the mafia before during World War II because of enemy subs that would possibly attack our coastline. they used the mafia to watch the coastline and the docks and ports and let them know if they saw anything. So they already had a relationship with them already. So Charles Lucky Luciano was his whole name. He received a reduced sentence in prison in order for his cooperation. But he also broke their code of silence called Omerta. Omerta, Omerta, which is never talk to the authorities. So now he's breaking two rules. He talked to the authorities, and he's about to start dealing drugs for them. But the money was too good, and they also didn't want communists in their Italy. So it was a win-win all around. So fake businesses were set up. The heroin was smuggled in regular items like sardine cans, wheels of cheese, and barrels of olive oil. Jimmy Hoffa and his teamsters moved the drugs with their trucks. If you don't know who they are, Jimmy Hoffa was a very big deal in charge of our unions, and the teamsters were mostly at truck drivers. And he is the one that started the union for the truck drivers. How many times are we going to fund war with drugs? It's all the time, it looks like. Because they were doing it with China at this time. This is the 40s. They were doing it with China, and now they're doing it for after World War II. And we did it, I know we did it in Vietnam and probably everywhere else. I think it's disgusting because they literally put heroin on our streets and got our people addicted and created the drug crisis. These people are pieces of crap. And I forgot to check something, but the last thing I heard was the CIA is not allowed to run ops in the United States. They're only allowed to work outside the United States. And now I can see why, especially towards the end when we start talking about that, because they already have too much power. Afghanistan, yep, probably, I'm sure they're still doing it. I'm sure they are. It's disgusting. So now they have instant cash. But how did they get it? You can't just hand over big truckloads of cash. It has to be laundered in somehow through a respectable bank or institution, right? They needed an organization that didn't get noticed by international monitors, and there was only one bank, the Vatican. The Vatican Bank is the only bank in the world that isn't monitored by anyone. There are 5 bishops. Is it bishops? It's not. I think that's wrong. It was established in 1942 to safeguard property for religious work and charity. It only accepts deposits from high-ranking church officials. 5 cardinals oversee and report to the Pope. And that's it. We don't know anything else about it because we're not allowed to. It's the most secret bank in the world. It answers to no one but the Pope. Perfect for drug money. The church gets a cut, and they also hated communism. Another win-win for everyone involved. So now we have 1948. It was Italy's national election. Gladio, Operation Gladio, I'm just going to call it Gladio, worked. The Communist Party was defeated. CIA and Gladio were able to change a national election from another country. Now, they didn't say this without using the army. They're a paramilitary army. They did it all with just espionage and things like that. And what I think personally is this gave them a big head because they were powerful enough to change an election in a sovereign country other than our own. So now they think that they're invincible. So now they prepare for phase 2. Let's see. Terrorism. Italy was on the front line of the Cold War. All right. So I do have trigger warning. I'm going to show some footage. Let's see. 1751. Oh, it's so hard to get it right down to the wire. Hold on just a second. I don't know how this channel is with, using clips, so I want to make sure he's not actually in it. All right. All right. Let's move me. All right. This December 12th, 1969. A bomb went off in Milan's National Agrarian Bank, killing 17, injuring 88. Anarchists are to blame. I'm not going to have the sound on. Okay, 1972, the Red Brigade communist group car bomb in Pano killed 3 police. These were now called the Years of Lead. The Years of Lead. Mm-hmm. I think I'm not even going to say religions. What I'm finding out is if you just get so big, any organization, company, religion, government, whatever, and if they have the money to back them, they get power hungry and they don't care how they wield it. So the Years of lead were the far left and the far right committing acts of violence, bombings, assassination, and kidnappings happening all over the country. It had to stop. Prime Minister Giulio Andreotti needed a more stable government. Uh, 1978, March 16th, there would be a vote in Parliament. I think he was a previous. So this is Andreotti, and then this is Aldo Moro. Aldo Moro was pursuing the historic compromise, which would give the Communist Party a larger role in government. He hoped it would lead to less violence. Moro never made it to the vote. He was kidnapped by the Red Brigade that morning and murdered weeks later. The new government took over without the Communist Party. Oh, am I muted or is that muted? I played the video, but I'm doing it without sound because the other guy on the video is talking all the way through it. I just wanted to show you what they look like. So can you hear me? Yeah, I wanted that one muted. So now journalist Mino Piccarelli published an article on Andreotti and his mafia connection and possible role in Mauro's murder and Italy's intelligence and CIA possible involvement. Okay, good. So 1953. And this is just him with all of these people he has oh, there's Hucklefish. All right. So March 20th, 1979, Mauro, I'm sorry. Hold on. Was it Mauro? Oh, no. I'm sorry. Piccarelli, the journalist, got a little off. So on March 20th, 1979, the journalist was found in his car, shot 4 times. Throughout the 70s and 80s, the years of lead continued bombings and assassinations. Too many innocent people. So in 1984, So in 1984, Judge Felice Cassion, a young magistrate, investigated and found a pattern. Military C4 was often used. Then the communists were blamed. I have the wrong. Oh, this is the magistrate. I had the wrong minute. Okay. So this guy investigated Felice Casson. Now, for several months in 1990, he was the only one that knew about this stuff. So he knew his life was in danger. So the C4 was used. The communists were blamed, but no one was ever arrested for any of these incidents. So Vincenzo Venera confessed to now they called it the PED space AO bombing. They didn't tell me what that stood for. He said they were trained by Italian military intelligence who gave them C4 and orders to cause disruption, violence, then frame the communists, which is state-sponsored terrorism. I'm looking at the wrong minute again. This guy. This guy right here. He's gone now. Okay. So now we have state-sponsored terrorism and we have somebody that admitted to it. But it gets worse. Local police confiscated a briefcase from a local politician with documents planning to take over the Italian government. Then they found a false bottom with more secret documents confirming hundreds of innocent people were killed in bombings by groups working for the Italian military intelligence. Casson followed the lead to Italy's military intelligence archives and connection to Operation Gladio. So now they're finding out about Gladio. And that it was started by the Germans, the Adolf's Germans, and expanded to Italy, then all across NATO. Casson uncovered attacks all over Europe, Germany, France, Belgium. All were false flags ops. Civilians were killed intentionally, and communism were blamed. Gladio was much bigger than he thought. Prime Minister Andreotti was pressured to confess that Op Gladio was real and had ops throughout Europe. Many countries tried to deny it, but there was too much evidence. NATO stated these stay-behind armies, that's what they called them. We would call them like the resistance more, I think. These stay-behind armies were real, but only for defense. The US and the UK continued the no comment line, of course. Andreotti was arrested and charged for murders of Piccarelli and Morrow, but acquitted after lack of evidence. 8. That's him in court, and he got off, of course. Gladio was linked to 30 acts of violence, with 150 more suspected. "600 innocent people died from Gladio bombs, and 2 times that were injured. If proven, these other 150, it would be in the thousands. No one has ever been held responsible." Of course. I wonder what the Italians and the Europeans think of this mess. Because this all happened when I was young, so I didn't know a lot about a lot of this. And in the 80s, I was in high school, not paying any attention to the news. So the CIA needed more money and power, and they got it. They became militarized. They had their own secret army to be deployed anywhere there was a Soviet threat. So they're still saying, Soviets are a problem. We're worried about them. We have to take care of this. So all right, so it was all a lie. Not what they were doing. The Soviet threat was a lie. It was all a lie, and they knew it. They had to know. If they had this kind of intelligent network, they knew. So from the 50s to the 80s, the USSR was a threat to the US. CIA was constantly warning us, which fueled massive military spending. Was the threat real? Now, I don't know if you guys remember, I don't know how old you all are, but I remember growing up and having to get under the desk in case there was a bomb, in case we got a nuclear bomb, and what we needed to do about it. I remember that. I was born in 1969, so it was always there. The Russians were scary monsters. So we were constantly afraid of bombs dropping on the US. We created NASA because they launched Sputnik. The Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962, almost a nuclear war, so we needed more military spending, of course. And he's talking about, oh man, the CIA assured us this was needed. The 1980s military spending exploded. And I remember in the 80s, I didn't know it was new. I just knew it was there. We thought war was coming. We were in an arms race. CIA gathered intelligence that caused the US to spend more and more on military and gave more power to the intelligence agencies. So they're getting what they wanted, while the Soviets, can't read my own writing, while the Soviets showed their military might back home, between 1953 and 1964, their people were starving. They were unable to grow the necessary food they needed. They could the 60s, we were told the Soviets wanted world domination, yet in 1964 started 20 years of stagnation. Their economy was failing. I'm just going to keep playing it. They did put all of their money in the military and space, but let everything else go. And so they looked like they were a threat, but in reality, they really weren't. Their state-run system was falling apart. Their tech was outdated. Productivity and innovation failed. Their scientists and engineers defected. They called it the brain drain. They were all running away. In 1985, Gorbachev tried something new. Called glasnost, or openness, where he allowed more freedom of expression, and they were able to speak out more, and all they did was speak out and tell them they were miserable. There really was no Soviet aggression during the Cold War. Military contractors got rich and intelligence got more powerful, protecting us from a country going bankrupt and citizens who were sick and starving. 1989, the wall fell, and we saw the Soviet Union had been in ruins for years. Gladio was funded until it was exposed in 1990. They didn't know. All of this funding and all of these agents and all of this intelligence, they didn't know that this country was in ruins. The Baltic states had left. Ukraine and the Asian, I think they had some Asian states, were about to leave. And in 1991, the USSR was officially dissolved. How did the US respond to our biggest threat falling apart? We increased military spending by 12%. Like I said before, this is not an official version because no one person knows the whole truth. The CIA does, but will never tell us. In 1996, journalist Gary Webb linked CIA to trafficking cocaine into the U.S. to fund Nicaraguan Contras. And I have a personal story about that. Tom was there. Let's see, 29, 23. Hang on.
Claims it was never involved in drug trafficking. They admit Air America existed for intelligence gathering and transporting supplies.
Yeah, supplies are smack.
Smack?
Yeah, you know, skag, horse, brown sugar, China white.
Heroin.
What'd I say?
So, 1996. So my husband was in Panama from 1995 to 1996. He was stationed there, and he went into Nicaragua for training during that time. So they had our military there too. In 1998, an official investigation into the CIA was launched. Claimed the CIA worked with people who trafficked drugs, but no conclusive evidence that the CIA did it themselves. Who do you think conducted that investigation? I'll give you 3 guesses and 2 don't count. The CIA. They did their own internal investigation. Lord have mercy.
Conclusive evidence that the CIA itself had facilitated or condoned these activities.
Who conducted that investigation?
The CIA did.
Oh, they investigated themselves?
Yep.
You know as well as everyone else that the CIA has been dealing drugs throughout the world and bringing drugs into this country since Vietnam's war. You brought them in here in body bags. You were in the Golden Triangle. So you're going to come in this community and insult us and tell us that you're going to investigate yourself? You got to be crazy.
Yeah, I agree. So lately, declassified documents have proven they did work with the mafia, and other whistleblowers, including people in the DEA, have confirmed that they did do these things. Lies by the people who supposed to protect us. So that's all of what we know that they did, or at least I'm sure there's more if I did some digging. Now I went into a little bit more of, we were warned. We were warned by Eisenhower about intelligence agencies and the military-industrial complex.
Eisenhower warned us about the military-industrial.
So what he said, that if we let the defense companies become too powerful, they'll undermine democracy and policy to serve their own financial interests. Ops overthrowing governments concerned Eisenhower. Intel was necessary, but needed transparency and oversight, or they would become a law unto themselves. JFK often sought advice from Eisenhower, and he told him, don't let the intelligence agencies have too much power. In 1961, JFK tended to trust them, which he shouldn't have. In 1961, he signed off on a CIA plan to overthrow Cuba. The Bay of Pigs invasion was a disaster. The CIA screwed it up. Actually, I've heard people say they didn't screw it up. They did it on purpose to make JFK look bad. It made Cuba and the Soviet Union closer. Or maybe they wanted that so there was a bigger threat so that they would make more money. Could be a lot of different reasons. JFK questioned the need for the CIA, or at least to reform it or dismantle it and rebuild. Organized crime was a problem in the 60s. They influenced politicians, judges, businesses, and labor unions, and elections. The mafia helped JFK get elected, but oops, his brother, who was Attorney General, wanted to fight organized crime. So it didn't go the way the organized crime wanted it. JFK was assassinated November 22nd, 1963. Robert Kennedy, 5 years later in 1968, while considering a run for the presidency. He pledged to reopen the investigation on the JFK murder. Why would he reopen it if it had already been done? That's all my notes. But the last thing I had to say right after that was, this video I was using came out last year. So he didn't know about the assassinations on Trump. Trump has been very vocal about dismantling or redoing the CIA, the FBI, the ATF, and he's had 2 attempted assassination attempts. Well, I said that twice. 2 assassination attempts. And people are saying that, he's taken this expensive jet from Qatar, but Boeing is part of the military industrial complex, and I think he might not want to be flying in a plane that was built by Boeing right now. Plus, he authorized those 2 planes to be built to replace Air Force One that is 40 years old. His first term. They were supposed to be done by now, and they're not. And I think they've tripled or quadrupled in price. So they're not even going to be done for a couple more years. And the plane he's on now is 40 years old. So I'm like, if he can get a newer plane, I don't really care. As long as I think he should, I think I heard he was going to donate it to his library. My thing is he should just donate it to the government when he's done or whatever. It should be, it's a gift to get off my stuff. But anyway, somebody brought that up and it was before I did this. And then I'm thinking Boeing, assassination attempts, CIA. I can see why he wouldn't want to fly in a Boeing plane that they just built for him. I hope he checks over the other one too, though. So, yeah, I was shocker after shocker after shocker. I mean, we knew this was happening. We know we're not dumb. We're not stupid. But the depth and length. Do not fly. I have FAA background. Oh, tell me. What's going on with Boeing's planes? Well, actually, this is what I heard. So they did an investigation, and they were finding out that they had a place where you put parts that were didn't work. I don't know what the word is I want. And they found out they were taking parts out of that bin of bad parts and putting them in planes and wondering why all these Boeing planes are messing up and crashing. Yeah. So I think, I'm hoping, because he's not getting it right away, and I'm hoping that we go over it with a fine-tooth comb. So it's kind of like, I don't know. Why he should just stay in the one when he's in, or slap an Air Force One on the side of his own jet. I think it's too small. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know all the details with those. I've just heard a little bit of it, some headlines. I don't know a lot of the ins and outs. But that was my other thing is, he's causing dust ups in the Middle East, all over the world. What if, he's not getting anything better over there? Scrap. Okay, yeah. So they had this bin or whatever. They put scrap parts in, and they found out they were pulling parts out of there and putting them on planes. I'm like, my son is going to school to work on airplanes. And I'm like, that's a choice. You have to know that you're doing that. It took a whistleblower. A whistleblower came out about it, and they didn't protect them. There's supposed to be a Whistleblower Protection Act, and the first guy to come out after Boeing did not get protected. Why? Because our government and the industrial complex are in bed with each other. Tell us you don't care about your people without telling us. I mean, they were bombing their own people. So I have more questions. A lot more. If you guys have some more questions, I can do some more research. I took most of my information from that video, and I'll link it in the description because I left a lot out. I would definitely watch. It's AJ and Hecklefish on Wi-Files. AJ, and what I like too, and he didn't do it that much here because all he did at the end is say, well, this stuff isn't proven, but these papers were released and said this, and this whistleblower came out and said this. Normally, when he's doing like aliens or crop circles or something, at the end he'll debunk what he can. He'll be like, well, this hasn't been proven, this has been debunked, this wasn't. And that's what I like about him. He'll give you the story and what happened, and then he'll tell you what can be proven and not proven. And I'm just not about, you told me not to fly, and I'm about to buy plane tickets for my grandkids to come visit this summer. I know, I've never been afraid of flying, but it's starting to bother me a little more. But I'll talk to my daughter a little bit about it and tell her. Yeah, my son's, he wants to, I'm not going to say which airline, but I forget what he's doing. It's something maintenance. You would know what it is. But I don't want to get too specific. Government planes. Oh. I see. Okay. Cool. Still. So, right after we saw the door fly off of that plane a few months ago, or maybe it was last year, I don't know how long ago, and they found out there was a bolt missing, Tom and I have a picture. We were flying one time years ago, and we looked out our window. We were near the wing and the engines, and there was a bolt missing. I don't remember exactly where it was. I don't even know if we still have that picture. I'll have to go find. And we were like, oh, it's probably not a big deal. Now we were like, maybe we should tell them. We should have told them there was a bolt missing, because a whole piece of the plane flew off on the other flight because a bolt was missing. Oh my goodness. I watch this channel called Mentor Air or something. He's a pilot, but he's an instructor, and he'll take tragedies or crashes or mistakes. They're not always crashes, and he'll break them down. And so many of them are just either people on the ground's errors, small errors cause these planes to crash, or pilot error. And it's just, and it was funny. He even said this. He goes, a lot of people feel more secure flying once they know details, and even if it's crashes and stuff. And I thought about it, and he was right. Even though I knew these things happened, I don't know. It's, they call it acceptable risk. Every time you get in a car, there's a possibility you could get in an accident and die. So everybody has a certain level of acceptable risk they're willing to take. And I mean, if you're getting behind the wheel of a car, or getting in any car or any moving vehicle or a bicycle or a motorcycle, there is an acceptable level of risk. Walking out your front door is an acceptable level of risk. Somebody could jump the curb and run you over. You never know. Or lightning, or, So I'm one of those people that look at the odds, and there's probably a small odd. I've already been in 2 major accidents, 2 fender benders. And only one of them, no, wait. 3 accidents. My very first accident was completely my fault. After that, I was a perfect driver. I rarely speed. I might go 4 miles over. I still make L-shaped turns. That's whatever if somebody trains me to do something a certain way, that's the way I'm always going to do it. It's just the way I am. And so, and then after working at a police station for almost 6 years, I saw $500 traffic tickets go across my desk every week. And I just looked at all those fines. And then I would see the what's the word I want? The quad, which was driving while license suspended, no insurance, no registration. And so driving while license suspended, no insurance, expired registration, expired inspection. I would see those come through. Which at that time, this was on post. At that time, our post was a closed post, and you had to turn in that stuff to your unit that you had insurance. They would do surprise inspections and check your insurance. Problem was, these soldiers would go get insurance, get the insurance card, then drop the insurance. So they started to have to actually call the insurance to prove it. Ugh. That's what's scary. Hey, Dusty. How are you? Oh, you missed all the good stuff. Yeah. Just talking about our government not giving a crap. Oh, that's okay. I got it. I know you weren't. I wish it wasn't considered that. I would rather type all caps myself, so I don't have to worry about punctuation. No, I know. That's the thing. And see, my son has a choice. He can either work in the repair shop where the planes come in and you have them for a couple days and you're not in a hurry, or he can work out on the line where you have to do everything quick and you can make a mistake. And I told him, I don't want you doing that. All those people's lives are in your hands. I stick with working in the repair shop. Oh, really? Yeah, we got into airplanes from the CIA and my son's going to school to aircraft something and maintenance. He's going to be working on planes when he's done. The only thing that sucks about that is you have to live near the hubs, which are major cities. So he's never going to be able to move back to this area. He's got to stay in like Dallas or someplace like that. That's the only thing that's going to suck. But he still has, I think, a year left. He still has a year of school. So, how was your night, Dusty? Did you get to go out tonight? Oh, AC/DC tonight. Cool. Wow. They're still out there? Jeez. Aren't they ancient? So many of these groups I wanted to see in high school are still out. I'm going to one in July, but it's a K-pop group I recently got into. But he just released the first song on his new mini album, and I'm sorry, but all the rest of the fans are, oh, it's so great. I'm like, I am hugely disappointed. And I think what they're doing is they threw some songs together. They threw this tour together really quick because he just got out of the army. And I just was so disappointed. They're 100? Yeah, I figured. Drilled into your head. But yeah, definitely go check out the Y Files. They do stuff on so many different things. And it's funny too. AJ and Hecklefish are so funny. Let me see if I can find a better Hecklefish clip. That guy is hilarious. He gets a little spicy sometimes, though. He has to cut him off here and there. Oh, he has his own channel? No. Does he? A Y-File production. Oh, this is so cute. Oh, I gotta play this. Okay, they did like a little movie. Hold on. Only a minute or so.
This is Hecklefish at the Pork Chop Express, and I'm talking to whoever's listening out there. It's like I told my last wife. I says, honey, I never drive faster than I can see. Besides that, it's all in the reflexes. You just listen to the Pork Chop Express and take his advice on a dark and stormy night, all right? When some wild-eyed, 8-foot-tall maniac grabs your neck, taps the back of your favorite head up against the barroom wall, and he looks you crooked in the eye and he asks you if you paid your dues. Well, you just stare that big sucker back in the eye and remember what old Hecklefish always says at a time like that. Have you paid your dues, fish? Yes, sir, the check is in the mail.
The check is in the mail.
Well, you see, I'm not saying that I've been everywhere and I've done everything, but I do know it's a pretty amazing planet we live on here, and a man would have to be some kind of fool to think we're all alone in this universe.
Yep, that was it. I haven't seen that before. 3 times. Younger, I wasn't into rock and roll. I'm back. I hope. If I'm back, let me know. So I saw like Hank Jr. a couple times. Then by the time I was older, I was married and broke. So after we got married, I don't think we ever went to a concert. Did he go with me to the Eagles? We saw the Eagles, the Hell Freezes Over tour, I think in 95. And I think Tom was in Panama at the time. I went with a friend of mine, I think. That sounds about right. In Austin. Oh, I take that back. My favorite concert was 1988. I did see Aerosmith with Guns N' Roses opening. That was a really good concert. Am I back? Hello? Okay, good. Okay, cool. Yeah. And I didn't know who either one of them were at the time. I had to listen to Aerosmith, a couple albums, and then after that, I'm a huge fan of it. I have like almost every CD. And somebody stole my it was the oh, I forgot the tour. Anyway, I had a T-shirt and it disappeared. But Tom loves Guns N' Roses and Aerosmith. Well, I don't think too many people are going to jump on here this late. So it's not that late. I'll stay on a few more minutes. I started to get out after you left, Chat Mama, at like around 12:30. I was about to log off, and so I think she's from Scotland or Ireland. I had two people from over there, so I was telling them how my son works. My son. Never mind. I don't know where I was going with that. Yeah, and so I was telling her about the place I work and how they went over there and won their award for Scotch. The first Americans to ever win it. So, and she was surprised they even made Scotch here. And I said, yeah, in Texas of all places. And I don't know, it smells good. Of course, like I said before, I only smell what's left over after the alcohol like evaporates, whatever got spilled on the floor. So all I smell is like, a lot of times it smells like maple syrup. Kind of, it's a sweet smell. But I can't drink liquor, so I'll never know. And I think I heard they were $150 a bottle. I've never paid $150 for a bottle of liquor in my life. So I'm going to jump off here because I didn't want this to be too long. That way, if people want to watch it, well, they can always end it at the end of what we were talking about. I'd like to talk about this a little more, maybe. We'll see what I get in the comments. I'd like to... a couple things in here I'd like to get some details on, I think. So maybe I'll pursue that. That's why I put, because I had a conspiracy theory show part 2, but we didn't do any conspiracy theories that night. So since I had something planned, I made this episode 2, and I'll probably do this every once in a while. I think it's fun. Okay, he was driving. Okay. Oh, okay, tomorrow? All right. Now, I go to work tomorrow at 6 p.m., which is 7 p.m. your time. So it'll just be, I might be able to listen to you, depending on what time, on the way to work. Because I leave the house at 4:30. My time. That'd be 5:30 your time. So, yeah. I'll keep an eye out for it. That'll be fun. And you get to join them, because I know you can't join them on Fridays. That'll be fun. All right, you guys. I'm sure there's somebody else streaming out there. Go room raid somebody. I'm actually kind of tired. I woke up super early today. So I'm just not feeling up to being up here on late. Ooh, I miss Saturday nights. I think they were a better night because people are getting off work and stuff on Friday and don't want to stay up late. So we'll see how it goes. Oh, Dusty, I finally got back to protesting. I can't remember. And then I find out the students are gone. The last day of school was May 5th. So I'm going to try to go to the Capitol building, those suburbs and stuff. Oh, Eric's live? I might jump over there for a few minutes. All right. I will see y'all this next week, hopefully protesting again. Have a good weekend.